Hi there everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jo and I am Sew Jojo. Today I'm bringing you a sewing vlog. I have a king size bed and I like a super king size duvet cover on it, but I don't know about you. They're really expensive, super king size duvet covers, and I wanted something a little bit tropical, and I saw this in my local Primark, £13 for a king size duvet cover. Now that includes 2 pillowcases, and I really quite liked the tropical vibe, and I thought it's inexpensive, I'll buy 2 sets. Now what I need to do is change the dimensions from 230 centimetres by 220 to, get my notes, 220 centimetres by 260, so the length stays the same, it's the width that changes. So as I said, I've bought another set, so 2 sets at £13 each, £26 is really actually quite good. So that means I'm going to get 4 pillowcases. These are the pillowcases, so they've got the tropical print on one side and then this pink leafy print on the other. So what I thought I would do is use the top of the duvet cover to add extra down. So I'm going to keep it even and I'm going to add what I need. So I need an extra 30 centimetres, a foot, 300 millimetres, however you want to look at it. 12 inch, did I say 12 inch? Anyway, so I'm going to do a seam down each side. Now what I'm going to do is wrap it around, because obviously on the back I want to try and get as much out of this fabric as I can. So I'm going to use the reverse side to make a fitted sheet. I thought that would be the best use of the fabric, otherwise I'm going to end up with some left over, and I really don't need any extra fabric in my stash because I have lots already. So I thought, right, I've got to do it. Of course, I've had this waiting around for months. The shops have been closed for a long time. I bought this ages ago. I thought it was about time I made it into a duvet cover that fits. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm not going to wash it first because I want the stiffness of the starch. It shouldn't really shrink. I'll allow a little bit extra, an inch or so for the shrinkage, but it shouldn't shrink because it should fit anyway. Right. I think that's all I need to tell you for now. You don't need any specialist equipment, a regular sewing machine. You could do, I'm going to use my overlocker as well. If you haven't got an overlocker, it doesn't matter, you don't need one. I am going to use mine though. You could do, what's the seams I'm thinking of? Everybody's probably shouting at me right now. Can't think, I'll add it on in text in a second. And, or you could just use a zigzag. It's going to be on the inside of the duvet, so it probably, if you didn't have a zigzag on your sewing machine, you could do 2 rows of straight stitching and just have them a couple of millimetres apart from each other, and that should be more than enough to secure it and it shouldn't fall apart. So I'm going to do you a little diagram of what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, measurements, etc., and then I shall start cutting it out. I'll use my floor, so no big table required. Use the floor, make sure it's nice and clean, and as I say, I'm going to wash this after I've made it up, so it doesn't matter if it gets sort of grubbiness off of the floor. That way do. Right, that's it. Should we get started? All right. So the plan is, it's really not great for my knees. Anyway, this is the bottom edge of the cover. 2 sides, I've unpicked those and I've kept the top edge closed, because what I'm going to do is add a panel down the side, or back down both sides. So I need to gain an extra 12 inches overall, 30 centimetres, 300 millimetres. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, so I can make it easy for myself, I'm going to cut 4 sections. So there'll be 2 for this side, 2 for this side, and then I can join them. I can either sew along and matching the bottom edges and leaving the top open, and then sewing it so it's matches perfectly, so both ends match perfectly. I might do that, I might try that. Or you could sew the two side pieces at the top and then sew them down in one long piece. Alright, so I folded over this piece here. Sorry my face isn't in it, but you know, you get the gist. I'm just going to, so I folded it over so I can trim this edge, get a nice straight edge, although it is a little bit wonky. It's Primark after all. It's not going to be the most neatest finished thing. It's a mass-produced item. So I am just cutting off this edge. So we've got a good neat edge to go from, although I'm going to have to marry that up with not a very neat edge. Right, so I've decided that I need 4 6.5-inch strips, and that will give me my seam allowance then. So I'm just using, I might do it just a little bit, actually if I do it 7 inches, yeah, I think that might be better. I'm just going to have my back to you now, just come down here a second. And then I will do it around there, doing it on the job. I'm camped out in the lounge right at this moment. Alright, keep that nice and level there. Okay, so I want 1 inch there, so if I go with that one to make up my inch, bring that one up to it and check it here, make sure it's nice and level. I'll do. It's my first one. Alright, just made a little boo-boo, accidentally cut my piece out at 6 inches, never mind. Right, so we'll go back for the 7 inches, just bring that along there. It's not going to be the most accurate in the world, really doesn't have to be. Number 2. So if you haven't got a rotary cutter, doesn't matter, scissors are great. You might want to just draw a line on your fabric first with a ruler and a pen, so you've got something to follow, just makes it a little bit easier. But if you have got a rotary cutter, that is brilliant for these little jobs. Number 3, but do be careful. The blades are very sharp. I have cut myself numerous times. Okay, I've got my 4 strips now. So I've still got quite a bit of fabric left over. Quite good for making bits and pieces. Just roll that out of the way. So if you didn't have 4 pillowcases, you could use that for making pillowcases. Alright, my 4 strips. I've got the bottom edge. I've left the buttons on for the time being. What I'm going to do is put the strip against the cover, the main body of the cover, and then I shall sew it up and leave a little gap at the top, and I will do the same with the other piece, and then that means I can get a really nice crisp edge along the top. It will make sense. I will show you exactly what I mean. Hopefully you can see that okay. So this is my top edge here. So the plan is to attach this strip right sides together, starting at the bottom, so the bottom edge matches, bringing it all the way along so that when I get to the top, there is just a little raw edge together, and then I can bring it through and sew it together. It will work, don't you worry. Fabric's a little bit busy, but I've pinned the sides, and this is how we're going to sort the top out before we sew down the sides. Put that into the shot, might help. What I did was I finger pressed these edges here. So they're going to meet, so I just thought, right, press and press, and then just bring them together. So that's what we're going to start with first, is sewing this edge up and then all the way along. Just get that ready. It's a bit fiddly because I want to make sure that I'm not accidentally chopping the rest of the cover underneath. And you can see, I didn't think it was going to match for a moment, but it does. I've just pinned the two pieces together. So now I'm going to sew along the long straight edge. Right, I'm going to whiz through this. I shall speed it up. Right, the overlocker was just having a funny 5 minutes then. Doesn't matter how much you use them and how long you've had them for, they can still make you... Well, that was a mammoth task, sewing all that. So I've done the first side. Now I'm not going to pin it. I'm just going to bring the edges together and completely enclose the sides now. So I'm starting from this top seam. Here, just need a good press really. I'm just going to bring the edges together and sew down there. Okay. As you can see, it's not perfectly level at the bottom, but that doesn't matter, because what's going to happen is this will become enclosed, all this section. I'll sew across there, and then that won't show, because I would take it just beyond, and then when it's through the right way, you won't even notice. Okay, at last I finished that. So the word that I couldn't remember earlier, which I probably did, I would have slotted in, was to do a French seam. That would take forever. So I would just recommend doing it on the overlocker if you've got the overlocker. If not, sewing machine, regular sewing machine, straight stitch with a zigzag stitch next to it to finish your raw edge. And if you haven't got that zigzag, as I said, do 2 rows of stitching. Maybe do one at maybe 3 mil long on for the outside edge, and then a slightly smaller stitch to stop it from fraying. Try that. Okay, of course, if you've got any questions, just leave a message in the comments and I will get back to you. Right, so I'm going to give this a really good press now, and then we'll organise about how we're going to finish off the bottom of it. Now, fortunately, there were some spare buttons that came on the tab in this cover, so that's really handy, although I'm not sure that we're going to need them on this particular one. So I've given the cover a really, really good press. There is a button right here. I'm going to remove that button, and we're going to work out exactly the placement of where we do need them and where we need to put some new buttonholes. I've done all the buttons up on the duvet cover, the existing buttons, and now we're going to work out where we want to put an extra one. So this is where it was originally sewn up, so I think that might be a really good place that would work out about right. And then with this part, we are going to just bring the edge together and sew along in here, just in this bit. So as you can see, or you might be able to see, possibly not, there's some holes here, so it was sewn up here and along to the end. So we're just going to move it along a bit, sew it up and bring it along. Now I've got a button, I've got two buttons here. I've got my seam ripper. I shall use that just to take that one off and that one off, and then we can just do a new buttonhole. So we keep these ones nice and safe. Right, I've got a friction pen here, so if I put it in the wrong place I can just rub it out, or you can use heat on it. Really handy. Have a little look for these in supermarkets, because quite often they do them a lot cheaper than they do in sewing shops. So I think that we are going to put that on this mark here. So if I just pop my button, have a little look and see what we had on the other one. We know what direction it's going, so we'll put it in that position there. Just put a little mark. Right, I'm going to put my buttonhole foot on my machine. I'm going to use one of the buttons from the duvet cover and just pop it in here, close it up, and then that will give me exactly the right sized buttonhole. Let's pop that on the machine. Put a little lever down at the back. Let's just get that in on there. It's a little lever that I've got to pull down so that it knows when it needs to stop. That needs to be in a little bit closer really, but that's as close as it's going to be for now. Okay, fabric is in place. I'm going to press the start button and then it will do a buttonhole. I've got a buttonhole selected on my machine. Just got to press the start button. Do it for me. Alright, it's told me that that is done. I'm going to just cut the thread and then I'll do the next one. Second buttonhole is complete. I'm going to use my seam ripper to open up the hole. So I need to put this back on the camera, back on the tripod, so I can show you that with both hands. Be really careful that you don't go too far. If you're not sure or don't trust yourself, you can put a pin in the end. Anybody that does buttonholes on a regular basis will know exactly what they're doing, but if you've not done them before and you're not sure, then this is a really good little trick. You just put that there and then you can't accidentally cut more than you want. Give it a little bit of a wiggle. It does have a sharp point. Very gentle. Nice and steady. And then that's it. That's the hole open. Let's check the button. Yep, goes through. And now I'm going to use open the other one, and then I'll sew the buttons on using the sewing machine. Right, this is the buttonhole. The button foot. So that will go onto the machine, hold the button in place, and then it will go side to side. Let's pop. They're done up. Just put that on there. Put a little mark through. I know that's where I want my button. Just there, it's a very faint mark, but I can see it fine. And then I shall pop that onto the machine, and that will sew the button on. Alright, not sure how well you'll see that, and it is quite fiddly, this. Now it's always worth doing a little tester. So I'm actually going to put the needle down in and then lower my foot and just turn the wheel on the side, the hand wheel, flywheel, just to double check that that's okay before I press the start button. Happy with that? And that's as simple as that. Thread cut, and that is one button sewn on just like that. Really nice and simple. Could not be any easier. Never be afraid of all these different things that your sewing machine can do. Let's get the other one done. Right, so let's see if we can see that again. I've made a little mark, popping my button on it, bringing it under the foot. Now my machine is quite a complicated one in the fact that I can put the foot down using a button, or I can use the lever at the back of the machine. Right, I know it's going to be fine. I'm going to press start. There we go. Another one done, and I've just got to trim that little thread. That's it. So next part, oh, that's the button I couldn't find just a minute ago. Next bit is to sew up this part now. So I'm just going to change the foot on my sewing machine. I think if we come up here and go along here, let's bring that back into shot. I can't really see what's going on because of the angle of the camera. All right, so I think we'll come in here, come along, and that will work perfectly. So I'm just going to put a couple of pins in there. You don't have to, but just so it keeps it shut. Do a little mark. We'll go from there. Which is why I said it didn't really matter too much if these bits didn't quite meet at the end, because by the time we get all this together it will work out perfect. Just straighten that out a little bit more. That's just to hold that in place a little bit. And no need to measure, just bring your other piece over. Match up the edges. Straighten that out. Fold it back, just do a little mark. It's going to be fine. It's a duvet cover. I'm actually going to be wearing it, so that will be accurate enough. Let's just, I'll get that pinned and we'll get that under the machine. Side 2, let's get it started. Back tack. It's just a bit wonky, I'm just going to go over the edge a bit. Right. bottom, slow that down a bit. That's it, done. Alright, get those pins out. Just make sure if you have been using pins, you give it a really good thorough check. You can go round and trim any of these little bits off. Don't just snip it, the duvet cover like I just did. It's not going to be a problem. This is just on the bit inside. Okay, that's it. So this is what it looks like. Oh, I tell you, there's so much oodles and oodles of duvet cover and I'm just getting completely confused with it. So there is the back side and there is the front. So it's a wild pattern, so busy pattern. You're not going to see it very much on there, and that is obviously going to be the back. And then you've got your little placket there where your button holes are with your buttons, and that's just what we've done, that little bit of sewing up just there. Okay, so I am going to use this back of the duvet cover to make a fitted sheet. It's not quite the right size, so in true I don't like to waste anything fashion, I am going to do a little choppity chop chop and make it fit. So I got my husband to help me last night just to lay it out on the bed to see how it would go. Now I had to turn it around the other way, so the pattern's not going to go the same way. Didn't really matter, so it doesn't bother me. And then it's not quite, although it's wide enough, then it's not quite long enough. Luckily I've got a head and footboard on my bed, so if it's not quite long enough, it's not going to show up too much because the footboard will cover it. However, it will come a pop off if it's not quite long enough. So what I'm planning on doing is taking some of the width off and adding it to the length. And what I'll do is, where the seam is, that end will be up where the pillows are, so the pillows will be on top of that, so it won't make any difference. So you won't see it, and then I'll have more of the length at the foot end. I hope that makes sense. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So I am going to chop some of that length. That is literally 4 inches, something like that. Spin it round, sew it onto the other edge, and then I will show you. I will use maybe a cardboard box on it to show you the idea of making the fitted sheet. There are other tutorials on fitted sheets better than what this is going to be, so you can always have a little look at those, but this is going to be my little make do and mend version. Let's see how it goes. Set my piece of fabric out. As you can see, it is not the straightest edge. Now I don't want to trim it up and make it nice and neat, because I'm going to lose valuable width on the fabric. So I'm going to take off about 4 inches and then add that 4 inches, that's 2. Do it on this as a straight edge, and then just even that up by eye as such. I think that's going to have to do. Right, it's done. I thought I'd made a mistake then, but I haven't made a mistake. I have no idea what I'm doing. So This is the got the buttonholes in it. I'm leaving that as is. That's going to go down the side. Where's my, I tell you what, pretend this is my double bed or king size bed. Actually, tissue box, even better. Here's my little box. So head and foot, sides. So the button band is going down the long edge of the bed. I've taken 4 inches thereabouts off here. Then I'm going to put it along this end of the sheet. I hope that clears it up. Right, let's go for it. Right, I'm not going to pin it. I'm just going to run it straight through the overlocker. All I need to know is that right sides together, the pattern direction is going one way and the piece I'm adding on is going the other, and I know it doesn't matter which end, I know it's going to be the correct orientation. So the strip I'm adding is longer than the width, so I'm just going to start at the end, no pins, and just sew it on the overlocker. Let's move you into position. You can see a little bit of that. There we go. So I've added that little extra strip on. Got a bit extra left at the end. Just snip that off. And then it's time to measure up against my mattress. Right, I have fitted my sheet to my mattress. Now, it doesn't have to be an exact measurement, as long as it fits your mattress or the mattress, whatever mattress you're using and you want to fit to. I have had to recheck one of the corners. What I've done is I pinned them and then I've sewn them with a long stitch. One I did go and recheck, and so I did a little mark, I don't know if you can see that, with some pen there, and I just need to press that way so that looks a bit nicer. But because you're trying to make something out of a piece of fabric that wasn't destined for that particular job, it is a little bit bonkers. So but as I say, as long as it fits the mattress you want it to fit, that is fine. I'm going to show you how I did it, because I thought it was, because my bed has the foot and headboard, there is no really good corner to show you, and I wanted to fit this to my mattress rather than trying it on my daughter's bed, which would have helped. Oh, I'm going to bring back the trusty tissue box and show you how I did it. Hopefully that's not too crooked. Let's just move that out of the way. This is your mattress and base of your bed, so pretend. This is your piece of fabric. Now what I did was I had the right side of the fabric onto the mattress, like so, wrong side of fabric face up, and then you just bring, it's so much easier on a tissue box, I can tell you. I'll get my pins. You just pinch the corners in. If only it was that simple. Pinch the corners in and pin. I ended up having to try and lift the mattress off of the bed, which wasn't very easy. So you pin, do the other side, and that is it. Bring it off. I did a little line with my friction pen and a ruler down here and you are going to sew. Now when you've got a really nice rectangular piece of fabric, it is just dead simple. So what I would say is to sew along this section first with a big stitch, then go and take it back up to your bed, try it on the mattress. If you're happy with it, then you can just go and cut these bits off or overlock these bits to trim them off. Now what I'm going to do with this one is, because it is such a tight fit in that there isn't a lot of length. There's plenty of width, but there isn't a lot of length. So rather than doing your standard, here, let me just come back into shot. That's better. So rather than doing your box standard elastic, some do it all the way around, and some fitted sheets are just around the ends. What I'm going to do is use some wide elastic. Here it is. Some wide elastic, and I'm just going to bring it across the corners. I know IKEA does this with their mattress protectors, so it effectively, it'll just be across the corner. I'll get rid of the thing, and then it will just, I hope, pull in the corners, because there is not enough for me to do a channel to then feed elastic through. I think that's probably going to be the best one. Of course, if you are making a single sheet out of a king size duvet cover, you're going to have plenty and plenty of fabric, so it's not going to be a problem, so you'll be able to do it. I will link in the description box the tutorial that I saw. It's a really thorough tutorial for a fitted sheet, which will go so much more into depth than what I've done. Mine is really just a sort of, you know, fly by the seat of your pants kind, which is the sort I like. I like just making things and just seeing what happens. So that's how we do it. That's your mattress. Pinch in your corners, do a little line if you want to, sew down, check it again on your bed, then overlock, or you can just do a little zigzag stitch and trim up close to the stitches. Okay, let's get these corners overlocked, and then that section is finished. What I'm doing just now is, because I have, as I keep saying, a very limited amount of fabric, I'm just doing an overlocked edge. I've taken one of the threads out, so it gives me a nice wide overlocked edge, and then I'm going to just do a single fold and then stitch it down. This also allows me to just grade from going from these rather odd sections here. I've been all the way round apart from the edge that has the buttons on, because what's the point? Now I'm just doing a little hem on it, literally the width of the overlocking, and you can go as fast as you can go. Take your time if you need to. I am going to need to change my bobbin thread in a moment, but for now, let's just get through it. All right, now I have gone up and tried on my daughter's mattress, actually same depth as mine, just the corners, to find out how much elastic. So I have worked out that about 14 inches of elastic. Now this is really nice soft elastic, so that should be perfect. As you can see, this is, it's got to be one of the most bonkers pieces of sewing I have ever done. it's so much easier when you're starting with just a rectangle of fabric rather than trying to half cock something together. Anyway, I have guesstimated on each corner whereabouts to put the elastic. Just going to take a punt. So I think that's the best way to do these sort of things, is to just try it and see what happens. If it's not right, but you can't tell it's not right, I'm just not going to change it, because it is a sheet. Nobody's going to see it. It's going to be all tucked in, and my duvet cover over the top, you know, a duvet over the top. I'm not worried about it. And that, don't be a perfectionist with things like this, because who's going to see it? Or who's going to see it? Anyway, I'm going to just sew these in, just attach these, make sure it's nice and secure. Then I've gone all the way around, done the little hem, etc. I've sped through bits and pieces because otherwise it would be so boring, and this video will just go on forever. It probably is going to go on forever because I've just stop started, and what with doing the cover as well. Anyhow, you can always speed through bits you want to. What else? Yeah, then I'm going to get it washed and iron it. I never iron my bed linen, so you are going to be truly blessed. Get it all washed, ironed, popped on the bed, and then I will take a nice little picture for the end. I am really pleased with it so far, and please let me know what you think in the comments. Right, let's get these bits sewn. I've got little Ted, little Ted, my little beautiful boy, just helping me out. He was sitting on the cover of my overlocker earlier. It's like, no. So I put, he's on this cutting mat actually on the sofa, so I put a blanket down for him. Right, so nice little bit of stitching. You can do a box if you want to, or just a little bit of backwards and forwards. You just need to make sure that it is nice and secure. I've got a little function where right, that will do. Sorry it's not as up close as I would like, but I have just done, I don't know if that's going to show up on camera properly or not, but I've done half a box. That will hold that nice and secure. Alright, let's get the others done. Phew, it is finished. Now this has taken quite a long time. I'm not sure I'd rush again to do this for a king size mattress. Yeah, so it's king size mattress, king size duvet cover, made into a flat sheet. It doesn't quite calculate, but I have done it. So I've attached all my bits of elastic. As I say, I'm going to get this washed and ironed and placed on the bed for tonight for nice clean Friday night sheets. Thanks very much for watching my vlog. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop a comment in the box below. Like, subscribe and hit that notification bell, and anytime I upload you will be notified. Funny that. Right, I'm going to go and get this washed, and then in but a moment you will see it in all its glory. Thanks ever so much for watching. Bye.